Welcome back to Musician Wellness Month. This is day 2. Today we're going to focus on posture. Our body position is so crucial to our musical performances. So we are going to begin our journey making sure that we really set up our foundation of performing in our body. I'm going to take you through a body scan that's really going to help put our roots into the ground like a tree. For flutists, I'm going to suggest a foot position for you so that this is going to help translate over when we actually pick up the flute. And today we're going to start with this body position away from our instruments. So the first part of this body position is finding our left foot, and we're going to stick it forward pointing at about 12 o'clock on a clock, and this would also be where our foot position would be, and it would be pointing towards our music stand as we're performing. Our right foot then will come out about shoulder width apart, and it'll point at about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock depending on what feels comfortable for you. And we really want to make sure that our heels are not back to back, but that it really does come out to be shoulder width apart, so that the toes of our left foot kind of make a triangle with the heel and the toe of our right foot. Once you get in this position, the first thing that we're going to do is find balance. So start rocking forward towards the tips of your toes and backwards towards your heels. And you'll find that if you go too far, you start to feel a little imbalanced. So rock back and forth, slowly coming to a central position, and you'll be able to find where that feels really solid when you feel equal pressure on your toes and your heel. So this is really putting the roots of our body position into the ground with our feet. The next part of body position is our knees. I like to just check in on them and wiggle them a little bit to make sure that my knees haven't locked. Sometimes when we're performing, we get so anxious that we just kind of lock them up and get really tense. So we want to make sure that they're mobile, they're in an unlocked position. So by just wiggling them, we can make sure that that's where they're at. The next point in our body scan is our hips. Some students are a little confused about the hip movement, and they sort of lock their whole body and go like this. But our hips have the ability to rotate. So in order to feel this, what I want you to do is kind of stick your butt out and make sure that it's really only your hips that are rotating. And then tuck it in like you're doing a crunch. If we pull it out too far, we tend to put stress and stretch on our abdominal, which doesn't allow us to use those muscles as we're performing. If we tuck it in too far, our abdominals are already flexed, which doesn't allow us to perform very well, since we really do need those in our performances. So you really want to find the central position of your hip rotation, making sure that when you get into a comfortable position, your hips will just sit right on top of your legs, and it'll feel comfortable and you'll feel strong and stable, which is really awesome. Moving on up our body scan, we come to our shoulders. As flutists, it's pretty common that we have tense areas in our shoulders, and because our instrument makes us cave in, this is a really important point for us to pay attention to. So the easiest way that you can think about your shoulders before you start playing is to lift them up to your ears, roll them back, and bring them down. And once you get into this position, you want to relax into the back and down so that we're not holding them back, because that'll create a different set of tensions. So again, we go up, back and down, and then relax the muscles. Okay? The next most important part of our body scan is our head. Now, our head has the ability to go into a wide range of motions. We can circle around, we can twist, we can go up and down. And with that being said, the head sits right on top of our spine, which allows it to have all of these motions. But it can also inadvertently put us into an uncomfortable position that we don't want. So in order to find our head position, I like to start by rocking my head forwards and backwards. As I do this, I really want to make sure that I start finding the comfortable position where my head doesn't want to fall forward or fall backwards. And once I find that, it feels pretty solid. It doesn't really feel like any of my neck muscles or the tops of my shoulder muscles are engaged. So that's really where we want to start with our head. The second motion we want to check in on is left to right. We don't want to pull too far on one side because that'll cause tension. We really want to find where center is. Make sure that as you do this though, you don't allow your head to come forward as you're going side to side or backwards as you're going side to side. Think about your ear coming towards your shoulders so that you still maintain that position of where you were when we were going forwards and backwards. Once you find this, you have found a solid foundation in your posture. As you find this position, you definitely want to check in on it in your everyday activities outside of playing your instrument. You want to pay attention to it as you're washing the dishes. If you're sitting and reading, making sure that your head isn't looking down. Or if you're on the computer, making sure your head doesn't start to jut forward after a while. It's going to be really important that we create this awareness about our body positions before we get to our instruments. So as you go through your daily activities, find this awareness, because awareness is key, and this simple body scan alone is going to do wonders for you. Good luck, and I'll see you tomorrow.